Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I am doing a book review of Burrowed by Mary Bader Kelly. This is a 2023, so this is an ARC book coming out on January 10th, I think. It is a dystopian novel from Angry Robot, my favorite publisher. So I received this book from the wonderful people at Angry Robot in exchange for a fair review. I also requested on NetGalley, of course, so I have to shout them out because NetGalley is like I love NetGalley. And look, I got a necklace. They sent me some swag, and I love swag. So my daughter's already claimed this as her own, but I was like, no, I need it for my video. So an intelligent, science-based novel featuring a woman in STEM, Burrowed is also a fast-paced and fun book that you'll just want to burrow under the covers with. There are no spoilers in this review. What's it about? A world split in two. One person holds the key to reuniting it. In a distant future, a genetic plague has separated humanity in two. Subterraneans who live in the underground burrows to protect their health, and strong surface-dwelling omniterrarians. Suzanne Cayenne, a brilliant subter girl with light blindness, is about to leave the safety of her burrow and earn a living. With her low life expectancy, however, her options are slim. That is until she's offered the chance of a lifetime to study the population's broken genetic code, fix the divide, and reunite the world once again. But when a new virus turns fatal for the Omnits, Suzanne must find a cure or humanity won't simply remain separate, it will become extinct. With enemies on all sides, Suzanne must hold on to the light at the end of the tunnel or risk the world falling into darkness. The cover's really nice. I really love this cover. It's beautiful. So, one thing I'll say about this book, and it doesn't list this anywhere, and so I am confused because I feel like this book is YA, but it doesn't say that. So I'm like, am I crazy? If anyone else has read this early as an ARC, or if you read it later, let me know if you felt this too. Getting into it, so I really love the concept of Burrowed, and it has an interesting world build, but it's not entirely fleshed out, at least enough for me. As I said, I love the concept where society has broken into two underground and above ground populations, but I had questions about it. Like, how did the subters get enough vitamin D without the sun? Are there any adverse psychological effects from living underground from your whole childhood? How is the massive transit and living quarters, not to mention stuff like laundry, sanitation, etc., how is that constructed? Who paid to have it constructed? Is there a government? Is it the government above ground and they're just like their own little like country? I don't know. Like, how do they maintain control? Are there cops? Is there a justice system or child welfare? Clearly not. What is the above world really like? Like, is it like now, but everyone is just dying all the time? If so, how does the economy still function? Okay, so if this was a YA book, like marketed as one, then I can overlook this stuff. Because often YA books are character focused with the setting being a backdrop. There are exceptions. Hunger Games focuses a great deal on infrastructure, which is probably why I liked Hunger Games so much. But if this novel is meant for general adult trade, the novel is kind of lacking in this sort of world building. Some people, probably most, actually won't care about this, but I'm the type of person who gets excited when my daily news podcast talks about public policy or labor disputes or the economy heating up. So maybe this is just me. So if you love a world building that is very, very intricate and detailed, you will probably find this one doesn't have enough of that for you. But if you just want like a cool setting, then this is probably great. All of that aside, though, nothing about the story needs these questions answered to move forward, though. I understood what was going on. The plot itself is very fun, and it was great to follow along with Susan as she discovered what life was like in different parts of her underground world, and then a bit in the above ground world, and, how she learns more about herself and kind of grows up. The novel has a great momentum that drives it forward, as well as quick turns. I was never bored while reading this book. I was always like, as soon as I was getting to a part where I kind of felt settled in the novel, it would move to somewhere else. And so it has a great pacing. One of the best things about the novel, actually, is that it's a medical thriller. A massive chunk of the latter half of the novel deals with the characters attempting to find a cure for a disease. That's putting it very simply, but I don't want to give anything away. And that aspect was really, really interesting to me. I don't have a science background to tell you if the procedures and practices made sense or if they were resolved too quickly or whatever. But the fact that this was the crux of the novel, rather than the protagonist fighting someone, for example, was a nice change. There is a lot of medical and science lingo in the dialogue, but it's still easy to read and it's not dry, and I understood it. So that part was just excellent. Like 10 out of 10 for the medical stuff. The characters, though, were fine. Susan is a bit of a Mary Sue, but not in a bad way if this is YA. I think YA requires its characters to have positive qualities, or in this case, numerous positive qualities with one that could be seen as negative, because YA stories are insertion stories. When we read as children, we tend to need to heavily identify with the character, as we aren't reading consciously or thoughtfully. We're reading mainly for story. We don't notice the prose, the themes, the structure, at least not consciously. When we're adults, we can enjoy stories about characters we don't like or are villains because we understand the story isn't meant to be interpolated, and morally gray is more realistic. YA, though, still retains that kind of heavy identification factor, as many younger teenagers are still reading novels mainly at face value. So if this book, Burrowed, is YA, Suzanne is a typical YA heroine. Brilliant, discovers her beauty as the story progresses, has multiple dudes fawning over her. It turns out her faults are actually strengths, has a special magic power or gift, in this case, eidetic memory, and she's tough. Because we want teenagers to experience those things vicariously, as it gives them confidence in real life. Is this a flaw of YA? No, not if it's YA. If this is a novel for adults, though, then Susan, I will say, unfortunately, is a bit of a Mary Sue. She's inexplicitly competent in everything she does. As such, she's hard to identify with. Her struggles are mainly external, against the forces that see her low life expectancy and disability as a hindrance. A relatable issue, yes, for many people, of course, and it's an important issue, and I'm really glad this book focused on that. But she's also very surface level. So I will say that, did I like Susan? I literally am ambivalent to Susan because I don't feel like I really know her. I could say that she's tough, she's smart, and she's not afraid to speak her mind. In terms of the other characters, I liked them. I liked most of them. There's one I wasn't really into. I was never really sure how old most of them were, though I chalk that up to people having lower life expectancies, so they have to work faster and with more urgency. So it's kind of like, I'm guessing everyone's like, I honestly don't know. They could be 25, they could be 40, I don't know. Now, one thing I will say I didn't like about the novel at all was the love story. On top of not understanding what the two characters saw in one another, as they never talk about anything other than work, there's a major power dynamic issue that I found a bit icky, especially given Susan's young age. Age gaps are not the problem. As you know, if you're one of the 8 people that watched my 2 on a tower video. And I have no idea how old the love interest was anyway. He could be her age. But regardless of that, he's still her boss. There's also a part where the man or young man, to get a woman to do what he wants, literally picks her up and carries her. That's kidnapping. That's not consensual. Yes, I understand the context wasn't nefarious. Context is important. But that scene felt like it fell out of the 1950s. The relationship also reached a high level of affection. It felt like such a short time. It went from I don't like you to, oh my god, I love you. I guess just overall, the relationship fell flat to me. There was no real tension between them either. So I was kind of like, I don't need this story. I don't care about it. Maybe it just shouldn't be there. Now, to get back to the stuff I really liked, though, because I really did like this book. The book is very easy to read and follow. Most of the scenes, not the romance scenes, have wonderful tension, and I was never sure where the story was going next. The story definitely isn't formulaic, and it was wholly engaging. I loved the gender parody and the whole slew of women in STEM in the book. The focus on female friendship was also excellent, as well as the messages around accommodation for disability and on child rearing that focuses on openness and learning rather than rules and controlling behavior. This book has so many great things going for it. There are just a few things that made it less than a 5-star for me personally. As usual, not everyone's going to share that, and that's fine. I'm still giving the book, for me, if I were to give it stars, I'd give it 3.5. And that's fine. I think a lot of people will really love it, though, and I am still so happy and appreciative to have received an ARC, and I do recommend it. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks for watching, and when you read this, let me know what you think about it, and if you agree with me about certain aspects. So yeah, and thank you again for the little necklace. It's so cute. It's like a little needle.